guy. Everybody's got a guy. A guy to help you move, fix your car, someone you can count on when it really matters. That's what makes them your guy. I'm attorney Austin Jackson, and I'm your guy in Augusta. I was born and raised in the CSRA, and I help people get the money they deserve when they've been hurt. So if you've been hurt in an accident, I'm your guy. Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy, 706-724-7224.
Who do we want?
Jackson Massey.
When do we want him?
Now.
Thanks, Jackson and Massey.
Thanks, Jackson Massey.
Thanks, Jackson Massey.
Thanks, Jackson Massey. Thanks, Jackson Massey.
Jackson Massey. Massey. Massey.
5 for 6 is weather coverage you can count on. The live 5 for 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
We kick off this new week with a warm and muggy Monday, but relief is on the way later this week. I'll have all the details for you coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 4, damage to Tropical Storm Derby left behind in Screven County. And one of the parking decks at SRP Park is having some tax issues. We'll explain as your 6 at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks for joining us. Brad is off today. Coverage you can count on begins in Emmanuel County, where the body of a get Graham for you later. But right now, we want to turn it over to meteorologist Shelley Sheely. Sherry?
Yes, Jenny, so it was a warm start to the day today. So very muggy start to our Monday. But the good news is we've got relief on the way. So looking at our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview Cam in Swainsboro there. Blue skies and just a little cloud cover and a little breeze there. You can see blowing the stars and stripes there. But overall, a nice start to the week. Winds looking good. Not too shabby. A little breezy coming from the south there, about 5 to 10 miles per hour in some spots. Temperature-wise, it's of course toasty. It is still August as we're looking at temps in the 90s for most of us. But when you factor in that humidity, feeling more like triple-digit heat as we're up to 104 there in some spots. So yes, air temps are right where they should be this time of year, but factoring that humidity, it still feels very, very toasty. And as much as we want fall to be here, it's definitely still summer. The next couple of hours, sticking it in the 90s with partly cloudy skies, not making it down into the 80s until 8 o'clock tonight. So your weather headlines, sunny, warm, and humid for a few more days, but we do have a cool down in store later in the week. I'll have all the details for you coming up in your full forecast. Jenny?
We do appreciate that, Sherry. Recent flooding across Georgia and South Carolina washed away fields and crops. You know it washed away roads. Farmers now questioning what to do. Many whose fields dried up quickly are starting to replant soybeans and oats. Other farm owners, particularly one in Colleton County, is stuck waiting for the water to recede or dry up. The family lost their home and now they're losing their farm and their bakery.
You know, your first instinct that you think about is to survive. You're numb at that moment. Clear decisions have to be made. All other things that you feel that are important, your valuables, those things aren't even important anymore. The only thing that is valuable at that moment is life. I had to come to a realization like, you know what, this is a fight or flight.
My goodness. The family believes it could be 1 to 2 years before their farm is back to what it once was. Several parts of our area are still dealing with the impacts of Tropical Storm Debbie. Debbie brought worry and even some joy to some folks. Rhea Smith explains.
While roads are open here in Rocky Ford, one local man shows us how impactful Debbie was on his property. Aiden Mallard tells me on Tuesday of last week is when the tree in his neighbor's yard came down on his property due to heavy rains. It landed on a truck in his yard and says it easily could have landed on his home where he and his family were sleeping. Mallard tells me Rocky Ford saw up to 14 inches of rain last week, and while it's dried out now, he has to clean up the damage.
I know the northern side of Rocky Ford was underwater. Definitely shin high to most people. We had to get some boats in here to rescue some people downtown. Major flood damage in some of these houses. Some people can't recover from this. It's horrible.
Mallard says while Debbie left a major impact on the area, he's glad his community can come together during times of need. In Screven County, Bria Smith, WJBF, News Channel 6.
If you drive by SRP Park in North Augusta, you might have noticed some orange seized signs on parking decks nearby. Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stalk is live now with the details. Hey, Sean.
Definitely caught a lot of people off surprise, but don't worry, the parking decks are still open. The issue here is a tax problem. The parking decks were part of the original the parking decks were part of the original development. They're busier now with new apartments and businesses. The reasons for the seized signs: more than $145,000 in unpaid property taxes by the owner of Greenstone. Notices sent by mail were returned.
Typically during this time of year, all the taxes become due on those types of properties, and they were delinquent on their taxes. We feel that they should clear that up soon. You can still use the decks as usual, but hopefully they'll clear that up very soon, that we can get that sign off of there.
The properties could be put up for sale on Monday, November 4th. Live in North Augusta, I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stalk, WJBF News Channel 6.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. In Columbia County, a suspect in a domestic violence case is recovering after a car chase with deputies. Investigators say Bradley Gooding started shooting from his vehicle during a chase on Roland Road. They say when he reached Old Louisville Road near Jamie Drive, he crashed and was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Gooding is currently in the hospital. In a separate case, Brian Randall is being behind bars, charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. He's also accused of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. August is National Breastfeeding Month, honoring the work that helps support both new moms and a sustainable lactation field. Tomorrow on Jenny, lactation specialists say breast milk is the most important food a baby can have. The CDC reports 80% of babies born in Georgia and South Carolina start out being breastfed, and many are still nursing at 6 months. Our expert from Piedmont Augusta explains why breast milk is so beneficial to infants.
Every time a baby nurses, a baby is getting immunities passed along through mother's breast milk. But babies that are breastfed have less GI disturbances, they have less ear infections, they have less respiratory infections, they in fact have less asthma, diabetes. Breastfed babies are less obese. It's just huge health benefits.
Feeding benefits new moms too. And meet local artist Margaret Hunt, who tells us about her creations on display now in North Augusta's Arts and Heritage Center. It's all coming up tomorrow at 12:30 on Jenny. We want to go back now to the story we brought you at the top. News continues after this break.
A new study out finding rising numbers of cancer in men, the sobering prediction by researchers, coming up.
So we're on a bit of a temperature roller coaster. So warm and muggy today, pretty much the same for tomorrow. But towards the end of the week, how about some 80s? That's what's coming up in our forecast. I'll have all the details for you. Full forecast coming up. Bye, ET.
A new study in the journal Cancer is projecting a steep rise in cancer cases and deaths among men. Cancer cases are expected to double worldwide in the next 25 years, and deaths expected to rise 93% during the same time frame. Rena Roy breaks it all down for us.
Researchers collected data from almost 200 countries around the world to make these sobering predictions, finding lung cancer is the most common globally and the deadliest is prostate. A new study out in the journal Cancer predicting a rise in cancer cases and deaths among men by 2050, with new cases expected to go up from just over 10 million to 19 million worldwide, and global deaths expected to rise 93%.
There are some reasons that scientists look to. Number one, biological reasons. Also, men are more likely to engage in high-risk behaviors, for example, smoking, alcohol, and there's also an occupational exposure. Men are more likely to be factory workers and be exposed to toxins.
Experts say they also may be less likely to access health care, and there are fewer screening options specific for men. The risk is highest for men living in developing countries and of older age.
And what we see is that in older men, in the aging population, the risk is even higher. We're talking about higher than 100% increase when you look at the year 2050.
Experts say early detection is key. That means getting screened regularly for colorectal cancer at age 45 and consider beginning prostate cancer screening at 50 years old.
I use average patient age or average risk per patient. If you have a higher risk, for example, if you have a family history, or for black men, you should start having these discussions earlier. It's a sign of strength and intelligence.
Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Researchers say back in 2020, global cancer rates in men were already 43% higher than in women, and they expect the gap to widen in the coming decades. We'll be right back.
Weather headlines on WJBF News Channel 6. Brought to you by Hickson Roofing. If your roof needs fixing, call Mr. Hickson.
This was it?
Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live 5 for 6.
Let's take a look at our Terry Limerick Hyundai Skyview Cam in the Augusta area. Looking good. Lots of blue skies and just a few fair weather fluffy clouds there in the sky. Looking good, but it's feeling warm. 94 degrees under that sunshine here in Augusta. Winds light and variable at 5 miles per hour, and it is very, very sticky out there. Looking at Live Viper 6, not a whole lot going on in the CSRA, but just to our east in Lexington County, South Carolina, along I-26, have some storms starting to pop up there, and of course along the Carolina coast. A good bit of lightning right there showing just outside of Georgetown there, but in our neck of the woods, not too bad. We do have a stationary front camped out over us and just a few of those clouds in the area with high pressure to our north. But again, very sticky out there. We are in that extremely humid category and crossing over to the oppressive category tomorrow morning. So it's hot, it's humid, and it's summertime still, right? But the good news is with that heat and humidity, yes, we've got to deal with it today and another day on Tuesday. But check this out on Wednesday. How about some 80s, 88 degrees for our high temperature, and even factor in the humidity. I say only feeling like 95, but hey, at least it's just 2 digits there, and cooling down a little bit more to 87 on Thursday. So we just have a few more days to survive the heat and humidity, then we get a little bit of a break from Mother Nature. So let's look at our future cast as we've got the heat, the humidity, and to complete the summertime trio, we've got some isolated afternoon showers and storms. So about 6 o'clock, we might have a few of those crossing into the CSRA, into Aiken County. Very isolated in nature, though. I think typically most of us will stay dry and just a few clouds there building in around midnight. Then looking at Tuesday, a few clouds in the picture as we wake up and kiddos go off to school. But then Tuesday afternoon, same old story. We'll start to have those storms pop up, mainly in our Carolina counties throughout the afternoon hours. Some of those looking like they could have some heavy rain and potentially some damaging winds associated with it. But again, those are going to be isolated, and I'm thinking mainly concentrated to the east. Cloud cover continues into Wednesday, and Wednesday morning going to wake up to a pretty dreary start with a lot of cloud cover. And then once again, those afternoon showers and storms pop up. So for tomorrow, again, as expected, our Carolina counties are in a marginal risk for severe weather. The main risk being damaging winds and also some heavy rains. Those rain chances continue for the first part of the week, but then by the end of the week, we will see those rain chances drop off just a little bit along with the temperatures. And when we talk about the rainfall, the potential rainfall, not a whole lot expected, somewhere between a half an inch to maybe an inch over the next 5 days. So no downpours or anything crazy like we experienced last week and associated with Debbie. So your 10-day forecast, again, hot, humid, but relief is on the way. So we got to deal with it a couple more days, then Mother Nature will give us a little treat by the end of the week with some 80s.
All right, that
I'm
sounds
ready
good.
for it.
Thanks, Sherry. Heat-related illnesses like heat exhaustion and heat stroke can happen within minutes of being locked in a vehicle. Sometimes they can be deadly. According to NoHeatStroke.org, Georgia is 5th in the U.S. for hot car heat strokes over the last 25 years. Health officials advise parents to place a purse, wallet, or cell phone in the back seat when a child is riding with them.
You know, it's a busy time of the year. Kids are going back to school. You're, getting into a different routine. You've had the summer off, but just making sure that you get back into that normal school routine and making sure your kids are taken care of.
Health officials say permanent neurological damage can happen to a child within minutes. We'll be right back.
You still hurt from that car wreck? And I gotta...
Some clever lions at the Oregon Zoo found a camera hidden in their compound. Turns out the lions should be directors since they put on a pretty good show. They gave us a look at what happens and what it's like to be inside their mouth. The zoo called it picture perfect. There's more coverage you can count on coming up at 4:30, including the 2 bills senators are hoping to pass to make child care more affordable and accessible.
The Live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
It's been a hot and humid start to the new work week, but we have cooler temps on the way. I have all the details in your full forecast coming up.
Now at 4:30, the White House is proposing new rules to cut down on the hassles of customer service. Plus, data breach settlement with a money exchange app could give some consumers a big chunk of change. We'll explain why. And the FDA gives the green light to the first non-needle treatment for allergic reactions. Your news at 4:30 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4:30.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us at 4:30. I'm Dee Griffin. The Biden administration wants to make it easier to navigate through customer service. New policies announced today. And Christian Cordero reports.
Today, the White House is unveiling new policies with a goal of getting consumers better customer service. Among them, aiming to make reaching a real-life representative as easy as one click.
Americans are tired of being played for suckers, and President Biden and Vice President Harris will continue to use every tool available to protect Americans from corporate greed and practices that hit people in their pocketbooks.
Part of this proposal is to reduce so-called doom loops, where customers are stuck with a chatbot or an automated recording instead of an actual person. A Consumer Financial Protection Bureau proposal would require businesses to connect a customer with a human representative by pressing a single button. And a new rule by the Federal Trade Commission would make canceling subscriptions as simple as signing up. So if it takes one click to sign up for a membership, the FTC is proposing it should take one click to back out. This could potentially apply to gym memberships, apps, internet, and cable. These proposals are part of a greater push by the Biden administration to bring daily costs down for families. A recent survey from CNET finds consumers are spending on average $91 a month on subscriptions. It's over $1,000 a year.
Many of these providers are slowly notching up the price of their subscriptions. It's not a lot, it's just $1 or $2 per year for most of them, but that really starts to add up.
Important to note, these new proposals could take months to go into effect. They could also face legal challenges. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Some customers of the mobile payment transfer system Cash App could receive as much as $2,500 due to a class action lawsuit. The lawsuits were filed against Cash App when a former employee gained access to customer data without permission. Plaintiffs also say Cash App and its parent company failed to properly handle complaints on the breaches. The companies settled for $15 million but denies any wrongdoing. Customers must have accounts from August 2018 through
August of 2024 and submit a claim through the official settlement website. Well, time now for a first look at our weather with meteorologist Sherry Shealy. And I was out today, I'm sadly at a funeral, but people afterward were saying, please tell your meteorologist, turn the switch off for us a little bit. Just turn the temperature down a little bit.
We're working on it.
Working on it. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so it was definitely hot and humid out there today. But again, it's August. I know we want to rush fall, but summer is still here, and Mother Nature is not letting us forget it. Looking at our Terry Lambert Hyundai Sky View Cam in Waynesboro, lots of blue skies there with just a few little fluffy fair weather clouds mixed in there. So it's beautiful outside. It just feels very warm. So in Waynesboro, 90 degrees out there, 94 degrees here in Augusta, 91 in Aiken. Saluda, our coolest spot at 88 degrees, and 93 in Allendale under that sunshine. But again, when you factor in that humidity, it feels even warmer, even up to triple digits there in Edgefield, 102, 95 here in Augusta, 101 in Bamberg, and 102 in Sylvania. So, whew, yeah, feeling pretty toasty. And no relief there with the winds, as most winds are nice and calm. Looks like our highest winds are in Sylvania at 8 miles per hour. So if you're going out for an afternoon stroll after work, it's going to be pretty toasty in the 90s well into the evening hours. So at 8 o'clock, finally dropping into those upper 80s under partly cloudy skies. So the heat and humidity continue for just a bit longer. But as promised, we do have a cool down coming later in the week. I'll have all the details on what you can expect in your full forecast coming up. Dee?
All right, thanks so much, Sherry. Well, new this year for Georgia, a new data hub that shows how much and how many people have voted absentee. And the Food and Drug Administration approves the first nasal spray to treat severe allergic reactions. The new spray will be marketed under the brand name Neffy. It's the first needle-free alternative to shots like the EpiPen. And data shows more than 40% of the 6 million prescriptions written for auto-injectors each year are never filled. Doctors say Neffy could be life-changing for those who fear needles. The nasal spray is intended for children and adults who weigh at least 66 pounds. The cost of childcare, the push from state senators to make changes to existing tax laws. Hannah Brandt explains the impact the plan could have for families and providers.
A new child care proposal coming out of Capitol Hill has advocates optimistic.
There's much more to be done, but we are very excited.
Cindy Lenhoff is the director of the National Child Care Association, and she's got a lot of praise for new legislation just introduced by Democrat Senator Tim Kaine and Republican Senator Katie Britt.
The parties working together to benefit working families, to benefit child care providers and educators.
The duo introduced 2 child care bills. The first would change existing tax law to bump up the child tax credit to $2,500 for families with 1 kid and $4,000 for families with 2 or more kids.
Help people deal with the high cost of child care.
And it would boost an employer tax provision that allows businesses to write off costs for providing child care to their workers.
To triple that to $500,000. That would be a very robust incentive that I think a lot of companies want to take advantage of.
The second bill would launch a new grant program for states, localities, and tribes to supplement the pay for child care providers.
An ample salary for child care workers is also really important to keep and then grow the pool of those willing to do the job.
In order for these bills to make any impact, they'd have to get enough support to pass through Congress.
This is an issue that we need to do better. We need to make working family friendly.
Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito says she thinks federal help for child care is essential, and advocates hope to see more lawmakers get on board.
It improves things for many, many generations to come and has a great return on investment.
In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Following recommendations from the CDC, school districts across the country are adopting mental health practices as a part of their daily schedules and curriculums. The CDC is encouraging schools to add programs like yoga, meditation, and breathing exercises alongside traditional classes. The change is aimed at helping students manage stress and emotions, and teachers say it's helping produce better outcomes for some troubled kids.
We're inviting them to go inward and sort of just explore what's happening in their inside world so that they can understand it better and then make the best decisions possible for their future.
Most kids say they're enjoying the new programs and the peace of mind. It's helping them become better students. The CDC recently sent out several action guides to help school districts put new mental health programs into practice. Controlling blood pressure is important for all of us, but did you know high blood pressure during pregnancy can cause problems for mothers and babies? Christiane Cordero explains.
More people are being diagnosed with high blood pressure during pregnancy. Based on a study published in the Journal of Hypertension, researchers think it may be related to people having kids later and higher rates of obesity. Even though high blood pressure during pregnancy is becoming more common, studies show not everyone is being treated. Untreated high blood pressure during pregnancy can lead to serious complications for the mother and baby. For the mother, it can cause preeclampsia, eclampsia, and stroke. For the baby, it can result in preterm delivery and low birth weight. Also, when the mother's blood pressure is high, it is hard for the baby to get enough oxygen and nutrients to grow. This might also cause the mother to deliver the baby early. Ask your doctor about your blood pressure and check out the CDC's website for more information on high blood pressure during pregnancy. With this Medical Minute, I'm Christiane Cordero.
Coming up, armed with a strong will and a can-do attitude, one athlete's journey to the Paralympic Games next.
And Debbie is now out of the picture, but we have another system area of interest in the tropics. We could have our next named storm Ernesto over the next day or so. I'll have all the details for you with your full forecast coming up.
From the time I was a little girl, the only thing I ever dreamed about was forecasting the weather.
This is Jennifer Trexie One. As you can see, everything's trees down, and so do not drive.
I mean, I remember watching weather forecasts on TV while my friends were watching cartoons. I guess I was a bit of a nerd.
When I grow up, my ambition is to become a successful meteorologist.
So for me, being chief meteorologist here at News Channel 6, it's a dream come true.
Looking for a reason to for just $6.99. When you're hungry, you need a big box. But when they're hungry, you need an even bigger box. Now for only $20. Two great ways to save at Popeyes.
Weather headlines on News Channel 6. Brought to you by Hickson Roofing. The News Channel 6 mobile app is now even better. Download it today. Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
Welcome back. Let's start off by taking a look at our satellite and radar right now. So we do have a stationary front that's located just over us right now, which right now, not a whole lot to look at in our neck of the woods. Just a few fair weather clouds. Most of the showers and storms to our east in the Midlands of South Carolina and along the Carolina coastline. But there is a lot of action in the tropics. So we just got rid of Debbie, well out of the picture now, but now we have Tropical Storm Ernesto. So that just updated. There we go. As of the 5 o'clock advisory, coming a little bit early. So winds are up to 40 miles per hour, moving at 28 miles per hour to the west-northwest, approaching those Leeward Islands. So looking at the track for Ernesto, so right now approaching the Leeward Islands. But if you look at the track, there is a gain straight that goes towards the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, looking like a Cat 1 hurricane later on in the week. But luckily for us, this path will be well off of the East Coast. But unless you have plans to go to Bermuda, you should be okay. But certainly something we'll still keep an eye on as we travel through this hurricane season. So back at home on our Terry Limbert Hyundai Skyview cam outside of Television Park. Overall, the clouds looking pretty clear. Just a few fair weather clouds mixed in there as the roads are starting to get more and more congested as we get towards the 5 o'clock hour. So 94 degrees, nice and warm for us under these sunny skies. Winds light and variable at 5 miles per hour. So definitely the main topic is the heat and humidity, as it was a pretty hot and humid weekend, and that continued into the new work week. And unfortunately, we have another day or two of that heat and humidity on Tuesday. High temp of 92, which is actually below average, but when you factor in that humidity, feeling more like triple-digit heat. But then check it out on Wednesday and Thursday, air temps in the 80s, something that I know I'm excited to see. Yes, it's still going to be warm, but much better than that triple-digit real feel temps that we're going to have the next day or so. Looking at our future cast to complete that summer forecast trifecta of the heat and humidity, do have some afternoon and evening showers and storms popping up this afternoon. Will be very isolated and mainly concentrated to our eastern lying counties and into the Midlands. Then we'll have some clouds come in and out throughout the evening and overnight hours, and Tuesday morning looking pretty good under partly cloudy skies. But then once we get into that afternoon hour, again, that's when we'll start to see some scattered showers and storms pop up, again mainly favoring our Carolina counties and those mainly to our eastern side of our viewing area. But that will continue into Tuesday afternoon and evening, and cloud cover will continue throughout the night, and waking up Wednesday morning could be pretty dreary under mostly cloudy conditions. And once again, you guessed it, some afternoon showers and storms coming through on Wednesday as well. But those that are, we're recovering from Debbie and all the rain and the flooding, no need to worry, because with this, we're not looking at a whole lot of rainfall. Looking anywhere between 1/100 of an inch to max an inch over the next 5 days. So not looking at a whole lot of heavy rainfall there. And fortunately, those rain chances do start to go down as we go through the week. So after Wednesday, looking at minimal, maybe isolated showers and storms going into Thursday, Friday, and then it's a little bit more chance of rain going into the weekend. So 10-day forecast, we've got another warm day on tap for your Tuesday. 92 degrees your high for Tuesday, but then we drop into those upper 80s starting on Wednesday, but then we do have to deal with a few afternoon showers and storms. Lower temps, hey, I'll take it.
That's what everybody's talking about, ready for those lower temperatures. Thanks so much. Well, some areas, as you mentioned, are still dealing with a lot of water from Tropical Storm Debbie, but be careful, the water's dirty, and one touch could make you or your kids or even your pets sick. Tyler Nicole reports.
There's lots of water pulled up in our area after Tropical Storm Debbie. Now, it may be tempting to go splashing in the puddles, but before you do so, remember that the water is dirty, and one touch could potentially make you, your kids, and even your pets sick.
First and foremost, I want to just tell people, don't do it.
Dr. Bonzo Reddick, Coastal District Health Director, says no one should ever swim or play in standing water because the risk of illness, infection, or injury is much higher than a few seconds of fun.
Stay away from standing water. A lot of risk from mosquito-borne illnesses. There might be sharp or dangerous objects inside the water that you can't see. And also there's just a lot of nasty waste that's in that standing water. So recommendations to stay away. It's not worth it to get your, Facebook or Instagram video that you want to post of you standing in the water. It's not worth it. Really a lot of risk to your health.
Dr. Reddick says most people don't think about what's in the water and why it's backed up in the first place, like human and animal waste. He says these are the symptoms to look out for if you've been exposed and to seek medical attention immediately.
Like mosquito-borne illnesses that are spread by getting bit by mosquitoes or bugs that are near standing water. Those are things that often cause headaches, fevers, a lot of myalgias, or what we call they're muscle aches essentially. So fever-like, flu-like symptoms essentially for those kind of things. For the other things I mentioned, the animal, the human waste that tend to pile up in standing water, things like gastrointestinal problems, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, those are all important as well. But also, if you have been in water and you have any small cuts that you've had that start getting red or painful, you could have a wound infection as well. So if any of those things happen, you should seek care with your physician or healthcare provider.
The doctor also recommends limiting your exposure outside during peak mosquito times, which are early mornings and late nights. We'll be right back.
Sebastian, as long as you have this outdated bathroom, there can never be anything between us.
Sandra, wait. Let go of the door.
Can this bathroom even be safe?
Absolutely.
Help, doctor.
This bathroom needs intensive care, no doubt, but I can save it.
What about new floors?
In cabinets, my team can do it all.
Take the drama out of your bathroom remodel. Call Tub Doctor for a free quote today.
It's gonna be okay.
CSRA.
That's our time for now, but coming up on News Channel 6 at 5, as Election Day gets closer, Georgia officials are preparing for the big day statewide. We'll tell you how.
Weather headlines on WJBF News Channel 6. Brought to you by Hickson Roofing. If your roof needs fixing, call Mr. Hickson.